How's it going, folks? Jefferson Davis again, doing another one of these crazy live streams. I don't know how it's going to go again. We're going to see. Um, I get to the connect. Sorry about that. I think we went off of Wi-Fi. But anyway, I'm going to walk by the neighbors, and it's almost 6 o'clock. So maybe there's a lot of people out wondering what the hell I'm talking to my phone for. Okay. Excuse my language, of course. But I obviously don't care because I'm talking to my phone. All right. So, when I was a baby, I had spinal meningitis. It about killed me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not complaining. It is what it is. But because of that, I had, at least at an early age, I had learning disabilities. So I was in learning disability classes. And one of my first memories from school, really, was second grade. The first day of class, I was terrified. I went to a little school, well, because this is live, and I don't know who's listening or watching, I won't say the name of the school, but it was a little school, and I remember the teacher's name and the name of the school and everything about it, and I remember the first day. And I was scared to death. It was a new school, and I was a little bitty. I was tiny for my age because of spinal meningitis. And because I had hypoacutism, hypothyroidism, hypoglycemia, Addison's disease, I was tiny. That's one of my neighbors. So here comes this big goofy guy. Well, actually he should have been in 5th grade, I believe, but that held him back. He was 4 years older than me. And so he would have been, let's see, I was 7, he would have been 11. Here comes the neighbor. So, anyway, try not to record their tag number. Anyway, so here comes this, 11-year-old, and he's like, 3 times my size, goofy guy, or goofy kid, and I was scared to death. But he was friendly, and that was the only reason I stayed. I was terrified. And me and him became best friends, and we were best friends till he died. He had epilepsy. He had several things wrong with him, and when he was, oh God, somebody out here walking on the street. Let me see what's up with this. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Hopefully, figure out what's going on here, if anything. How's it going? Pretty good. So anyway, so there's this goofy kid, and I'm scared to death, and he's smiling and being, great guy or great kid. So me and him become best friends. He had epilepsy, and so obviously he had learning disabilities. He had real bad seizures. We were the best of friends because I had learning disabilities, and we were just buddies, or back then at least. But he was my best friend from the time I was 7 years old until 2001. I would have been almost 30. He passed away. He died all of a sudden. His name was Tommy. But he was my best friend. He listened to me when nobody else would. He genuinely cared, you know. Uh, yep, we have traffic. Hopefully I'll get a private minute here at some point. So, me and him were the best of friends because you understand and you can appreciate someone else, what someone has to deal with in their life if you have similar issues. They thought I had. Okay, we're back. I don't know what's going on. But because of a good upbringing and the best friend in the world to have these issues, I've always, in my own health issues, I've always looked at people a lot differently than most people. I usually, society does have a way of working on you, but I usually treat people obviously how I want to be treated, or I try to. And I don't really care if you've got $5 or $5 billion, I'm going to treat you the same. Because we're all going to die, we're all going to be put in a casket or, burn to ashes or whatever. So there's no, there's a respect for what people have done in their lives, yeah, but you treat everyone the same. Good, Treat everyone, give everyone the same respect, whether they got $5 or $5 billion or they have disabilities. Let's say they have Down syndrome, right? And that's kind of getting into what I'm trying to tell you. And he was my best friend, and I were getting into the bad. Well, this is not the bad side of the hood here, but can be. But he meant the world to me, and he's always there for me, and I'll try to always be there for him. And he got married twice, and he worked, and he did everything that the doctor said he never could do, and he was adopted. His parents gave him away because they couldn't deal, or they didn't want to deal with the epileptic child. They couldn't handle it. They were young and stupid and dumb, but his parents that adopted him, they loved that boy. I got somebody coming. 1 second. School bus. They had the greatest love for that boy that you could ever hope to have. He was a great man. I miss him a lot, and the reason I'm talking about him is this Born Alive Abortion Protection Act. I believe is exactly how it's titled, and I'll actually leave a link to the actual act, the bill, that the Democrats. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It kind of is because they're making it that. This is a moral issue for the United States. This is a moral issue for the people of the United States of America. I'm a libertarian conservative. I am not perfect, and I definitely don't want government in my business. There's no business to have. I'm fairly boring. Don't smoke. Rarely, if ever, drink. And I go to work and I pay my taxes. I'm pretty freaking boring. My life's not always been that boring, but it is, in my 40s. But I wanted to talk about this act because a lot of times things are blown out of proportion. Politicians, this does that and this does this, and the Democrats will say it's trying to reach too far. The Republicans are saying we're just trying to protect. And so I went to read it because I wanted to know for myself. And you don't know me, I don't know you, so people are looking. So, my entire neighborhood thinks I'm insane. It's alright. I've been classified as sane twice by the federal government. Not because of anything I did to get me in any trouble, just because I worked for the government at one point. Anyway, so I went and I read the bill, and as I said, I will leave a link below after this live show is over and I get back from my walk to the bill. If you don't know, and you probably don't, I don't expect you to know these things because you don't know me, most likely. But I have a background in, or at least a formal educational background in criminal law. I'm not a lawyer. Criminal justice, criminal law. So I can read legalese and understand it, which actually, for the vast majority of Americans cannot understand these bills, and politicians do that on purpose. And actually, it is unconstitutional to do that. But that's another story for another day. I'm talking about the Roman moral equivalent to the United States. So, try not to show people's tag numbers. So, what did it say? It is guaranteeing in this bill, if it were to be voted in the Senate and the House and signed by the President, if a baby of whatever age, it did not specify 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, 16 weeks, third trimester, whatever. It did not specify an age, but if a baby, let's say even up to the 9-month period, was aborted, as in New York, or possibly in the future Virginia, if a baby was born, I don't think people understand how partial birth abortions and full-term abortions in New York work. They cut the spine. They bring the baby out to a point of this birth, pretty much, partial birth, and they cut the spine, killing it instantly, or it's supposed to, but it sometimes doesn't. And they cannot, excuse me, they can't help the baby because that's against the law in these states. They have to let it lay there and die if it's born alive. And what this bill is doing, I swear, hand to God, and I would be glad to put my hand on the Bible for this. What this bill is doing is protecting those babies that are born and are not aborted. That's all it is doing. It is not preventing abortion. It is not interceding in the rights of the state, like New York, for full-term abortion. It's just protecting the babies that are aborted, and for some reason, they're still alive when they pull them out of their mother. It clearly defines this in the definitions. It does change in the law. 18 statute 18. I'm getting upset here, so I'm going to forget stuff. But it does change part of one description of the law in the law, or the title. And Title 18 to abortion instead of partial birth, or one subsection of Title 18. But and it adds one line to subsection of inside of Title 18. But that's all it does, folks. Is it's trying a baby that is aborted, full term, 14 weeks or whatever, and is still alive for whatever reason. They botch it, they do a bad job, they mess up. In this law, they have to, or else face felony charges and go to prison. They have to support that baby and give that baby all the rights that it should have as a baby. It is a sad, sad day in the United States of America, in this world, when you have to write a law making people do the right thing. I don't want to live in this country if that's what, I love my country. My family has died generation after generation after generation for freedoms. For the freedom for me and you to get on here and to say what we want on the internet or say what we want to each other. They've died for thousands of years in Europe for freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom to worship as you please. And this is how we repay them. We murder the innocent and the unborn. They are innocent because if you're charged with murder, you have a lawyer. You have someone that will protect your rights and protect your freedoms in these United States of America, or in your country of origin, in a Western society, or omitting Muslim countries altogether. You have rights in this world. And that baby, in the world we live in today, doesn't have any rights. If the mother, for whatever reason, whether it be the media, which I could pick on for ever, whether it's the media, the social media telling them, oh, you don't need a child, this is about population control, but people in government are trying to play God, and it is not going to end up well for them. That baby has the same rights to life that you have the right to breathe. And we have people talking about, I have the right to smoke. I have the right to do this. I have the right to do that. I have the right to have more than one wife. If you're a Muslim living in the United Kingdom, you can have your own courts, especially in London. But it is estimated, and it's hard to get an accurate estimate on this, and it's hard to get accurate numbers on this, but it is estimated that on the low end, 15 million up to 60 million babies have been aborted. And the majority of those were minority babies, or it's estimated that they were. We're white babies, black babies, brown babies, yellow babies, every type of people on this planet, every group of people on this planet, I don't like to say race because we're not that different. Every group of people on this planet that live in the United States, which is everyone, at some point or another, one person is aborted. But 15 million to 60 million on the high end, that's what a lot of Christian pro-life organizations estimate, 55 to 60 have aborted their child. Within that 15 to 60 million abortions, you could have had someone who cured cancer, but you could have had someone that would have been the greatest leader of all time, the greatest president of these United States. but you'll never know. We as a society do not have the right to play God. And then we get into corporal punishment, into killing people that murder other people, an eye for an eye kind of thing. And if you want to discuss that, I'll be glad to discuss that on another one of these ramblings. But my basic point here is, if you read the bill, it's just protecting the aborted babies that are born and somehow, by the miracle of God, still alive. It's giving them the same rights and privileges that we enjoy every day. Would you want to be murdered? Would you want somebody to slice into your spine and murder you? I didn't think so. And here's another note for you. Everybody I know, I've told this. But you get your fingerprints. This is another debate, but between 12 weeks and 18 weeks, usually 12 to 16, somewhere in that range. There's debates on it, but it's 12 weeks. You can be aborted, in New York to full term. Outside of the womb, you can be convicted of a crime and sent to the gas chamber or whatever. You would have a lawyer, a defense lawyer. You would have people on your defense, and the state provide that. But is there a lawyer for that child? Is there a lawyer for that child? There isn't one. There's nobody. If a decides to abort that baby, there's no correlation. They don't have to contact their parents. They don't have to contact the man that got them pregnant. They just go have an abortion, and unfortunately, they have to suffer with that for the rest of their lives. I know women that have had to have an abortion. I've never involved myself in that, and thank God for that, because I would hate to have that on my conscience, but it's a horrible thing, folks. And if we do not stand up and protect those that cannot protect themselves, then who's going to protect us? This is Jefferson Davis, signing out. Thank you very much.